Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let me turn this music on. If you guys could only see the stuff that happens behind scenes. Good grief. Anyway, welcome. So glad to be here and glad that you are here. As they say, this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice, hallelujah, and be glad in it. So I am excited to be here tonight. We are almost finished with Joseph. We've only got a few more chapters to go, and then we will be done with Sir Joseph. But hopefully, you guys are getting some insight. I believe that the Lord is speaking to each and every one of you, touching our hearts. And today we are going to start or continue on at Genesis 45. So I don't always remember to pray before we start, but I'm remembering today. Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to delve into your word. We ask, Lord, that you open up our hearts and our minds, open up our minds to the realm of understanding. Give us insight on your word. Let us hear more than the words that are being read and talked about. Give us revelation. We just pray that revelation be released over us so that we have insight on how to apply this word to our lives. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right, y'all. A couple things that I just want to share with you real quick. If you are new to this channel, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a message, something like that. We have a new goal. We want to reach 500 subscribers. And if you have not subscribed, we want you to be a part of the growing community. So go ahead and do that. Just subscribe while you're sitting there watching us now. Now, many of you got a text message about that telling you that we were going to be on. So how can you join that text community? You have an opportunity. Just text the word community to 866-939-6096. Again, text the word community to 866-939-6096, and you will get a text message when we go live. We will not inundate you with things, but we'll just text you when things are coming up, things are happening, so that you'll know what is going on. Let's see. Of course, I always have to thank our sponsors. Let me make sure I'm covering everything. Yeah, thank our sponsors. Young People Nation, they have a podcast. Make sure you go over and find them on Facebook and on YouTube and subscribe to them. Every Thursday, 12 noon, they drop a new one. They have some really, really good topics that they are talking about. And, from trauma to parents with children with autism. And I mean, just anything you can think about, they're talking about it. So I want you to go and follow them and support them. Again, Young People Nation, Thursdays at 12 noon, hosted by Eugene and Donna Perry. Also want to encourage you to join Davis Consultants with Today is Your Day every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you live near this in Central Time, it's at 12 noon. You can join live on YouTube and on Facebook, and we appreciate both of them as being sponsors, as well as A Word and a Song. Montre Roberts, she hosts every third Sunday at 7 p.m. So make sure you go and find her on Facebook, Montre Roberts. Take a screenshot of this so you'll know how to spell her name. And that is where she is every third Sunday of the month. And she will host A Word and a Song. And she has just such a beautiful voice and has such a beautiful spirit. We just appreciate her being so supportive of what we do. All right, y'all. It is happening and it is open. Prayer School. It's coming in September 2024. But guess what? The link is in the building. The link to Prayer School. I don't know if y'all can, maybe I'll try to put it in the, it's there. I know that doesn't help you at all, right? That right there doesn't help you. But let me see if I can put it in the chat so that you could at least click on it and then go to the page so that you can register. It is Prayer School. We are going to be talking about learn how to pray effectively. We're going to talk about the insight on the different realms of prayer. We are going to understand the types of prayer. We're going to learn about the prayer watches. We're going to talk about, and even some of the notes that I hadn't really thought about, but we're going to talk about even the prayer shawl, what that means, why some people wear it. We're going to talk about just the different types of prayer that you have. And honestly, the more that I work on this curriculum for this school, it really is going to come down to us making choices. When we pray, it comes down to us. Whether or not our prayers are getting through, it comes down to us. It really does. Something I was going to say, I don't know if it was about prayer school, but let me see if I can do this. And if I cannot, I should be able to. I know that is not helpful at all. And I didn't think about that before I put that up there. Oh, wait. I may have it here. Prayer school link. I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys can click on it. And if you want to sign up now, you can. I had some folks call and ask, hey, have you put the link up? Where's the link? I want to sign up now. So here you go. This is how you can sign up. I am also going to put it on the website so that you're able to find it there. I'll do that after this class. So if you can't use this link to sign up for prayer school, I am going to go and put it on our, I'm going to put it on the web page. And what else was I going to tell y'all? I'm just excited about it. I really am. I'm excited about it. You know, I'll say this and then I'll get on with chapter 45 in Genesis. You know, sometimes when we pray, or let me just say me, when I really started out on this journey of prayer, my thought was it's going to be hit or miss. If, you know, if God is in a good mood, he'll make what I'm praying about happen. If not, you know, or if I hadn't sinned, if I hadn't done anything or sinned or done anything bad the week before, and then I prayed about it, then, okay, yeah, he's going to do it. Or if I had a good state of mind, okay, yeah, he's going to do it. Some of that is partially true, but some of it is not true. But a lot of it does come down to personal responsibility. So as soon as we get off of this, I'm going to put the link so that you can do it. You'll go to KimberelyJMinistries.org. It's right on the front page, and it already has the advertisement there. But I've gotten quite a few people to call and ask, like, hey, when are you going to put out the link? Have you put the link out yet? I want to sign up now. So we're going to do that as soon as we get off here. We'll go ahead and put the link on the web page so you can sign there. But I have put it down in the comment section. So if you can click on it, you can go ahead and sign up now before we even get off. But if you can't, I understand. And it'll be on the website. And I'm also going to send out an email. So make sure I have your email address. And you get it's almost like a newsletter or something that we send out once a month. And it isn't necessarily at the beginning of the month, but it's once a month so that you'll figure out or find out what's happening with this ministry. All right, let's go to Genesis, the 45th chapter. And I know that we started reading this, but I didn't write down where we stopped. So we're going to start at verse 1, Genesis 45, verse 1. And then Joseph could not refrain himself. This is what he had his brothers in the room. I should have did a recap a little bit. Anyway, he had his brothers in the room and he was asking them questions. Basically, he knew who they were. They didn't know who he was. At one point, he sent all of his servants out of the room and he burst into tears. Chapter 45, verse 1. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all of them that stood by him, and he cried, because this is where it is. He told every man to go out of the room, just get away right now. And there stood no man with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. He told his brothers who he was at the top of 45. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard him. I mean, he was wailing. He was wailing. Let me talk about him crying, because I think this might be significant too to us, even in our spiritual growth, is that it said that he wept aloud and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard him. Have you ever been to a point or a place where you just, you cry, or to a point where you have so much going on that you feel so pressed that you are like, you know what, whatever happens, I just want something to happen. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever, God, it's almost like, God, whatever you want to do, it's like you are dying to yourself. You're letting go of you trying to control things, and you're just letting it go. I thought about this when I read this second verse. about how he wept and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard him. That's not just I'm crying, just a little weepy cry or just one tear rolling. That is crying from your soul. That's crying from your innermost being. That is crying at the place where you are not reserved anymore. You know how Oprah used to say that ugly cry? It is that cry that comes from deep in your belly. You know what I'm saying? That kind of cry. That cry makes you uninhibited. That cry helps. It helps you to release what you're holding on to. That's the kind of cry that I believe he had. But I'm bringing all that up because it makes me think about Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And when it said that he cried and he prayed like almost like drops of blood. He was crying and praying and pleading, God, if there's any way to let this cup pass, let it pass from me 3 times. If there's any way to let this cup pass so that I don't have to go to the cross, if there's any way to do this, God, I don't want to do this, basically. Those kind of cries where you are weeping so hard and you are letting go of your inhibitions, you're letting go of your plan, you're letting go of what you feel like needs to be done, and you are just kind of throwing your hands up and saying, God, whatever, that's what he is looking for. I believe that's significant even when we pray. But I believe Jesus reached that point when he was crying in the Garden of Gethsemane, where the cry was so deep and gut wrenching that it was, I am letting go. He was dying to himself. I am letting go of myself. He was dying to himself. Yes, totally surrender, total surrender. Yes, total surrendering. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is significant in prayer. That is significant in prayer. It absolutely is. So significant. All right, verse 3. And Joseph said unto his brothers, I am Joseph. Doth my father, is he alive? And his brothers could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. Verse 4. And Joseph said unto his brothers, come near me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said to them, I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. I know it was like, oh, you're who? What? You in trouble. Verse 5. Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me, for God did send me before you to preserve life. Don't be mad at yourself. Don't grieve. Don't be sad. Almost the devil meant it for bad, but God meant it for good because God knew. Remember, we talked about last week, a new perspective. God had another perspective that you didn't know about, and it's all good. He sent me ahead of you so that I would be in position to preserve your life. Hello, Team Perry and Montre and Jonathan and let me see, and Bobby. Yeah, hello, all of you. Hello, everyone who made themselves known. There are some of you who are on who I don't know, but glad that you're here as well. Verse 6. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in which there shall neither be airing nor harvest. So he's telling them, okay, the famine has already gone 2 years. It's been 2 years into this famine. There are 5 more years to come. So he's giving them insight on what's to come. Know that when you are moving in something, when you are not moving, when God has his hand on you, when you pray, when you're seeking God, he will give you insight on things to come. Let me say it that way. Verse 7, and God sent me before you to preserve you in the earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me here, but God, and he hath made me a father to Pharaoh and Lord of all his house and ruler throughout the land of Egypt. What you meant for bad, God turned it around and meant it for good. That's why it's important to forgive people when they do things to you. Let that go. So now, verse 9, Haste ye and go up to my father and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, God hath made me Lord of all of Egypt. Come down unto me and don't take your time. Like, hurry, hurry, daddy, come and see me because I want to see you. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children and thy children's children, and thy flocks and thy herds, and all that thou hast. One thing that I thought about is reading this. Joseph was the leader of this great estate. He was ruler over it, or the manager over it. Why didn't he reach out to his family? Why didn't he reach out to find out if his family was still alive? Have you ever thought about that? I thought about it as I was reading this. Since he was like, go to my father and tell him that you found me and tell him that I'm the ruler over this, that Pharaoh has put me in charge of his house and all throughout the land of Egypt. I wonder why Joseph didn't reach out to his family before this time, before they came to see him. Just a thought. If you have any answers, put it in the chat. Would certainly love to hear your perspective. All right, verse 11. And there will I nourish thee, and yet there are 5 years of famine. I've read that already. Verse 12. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin. That is okay. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. So basically, like, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. I am actually telling you that I am your brother, and I am the leader of this whole land. I'm working under Pharaoh, and you thought that you sent me away and sold me off to be killed, but the Lord had his hand on this whole situation, and he put me exactly where he wanted me to be. So decide within yourself that God has me where I'm supposed to be, that my steps are ordered. Maybe put that in the chat. My steps are ordered. My steps are ordered. I'm going to put that in there. My steps are ordered. Oh, you're making me nervous being here, but thank you for being here tonight. Certainly appreciate it. It is a thought to ponder, the thought of why didn't Joseph reach out to his family? But my steps are ordered. My steps are ordered. Indeed. Thank you for putting that in there. My steps are ordered. Whatever you're dealing with, I'm here to tell you, my steps are ordered. Your steps are ordered. Let's remember that. Okay, verse 13. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt and all that ye have seen, and ye shall haste and bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreof, he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. And after that, his brothers talked to him. Verse 16. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers are come, and it pleased Pharaoh well and his servants. So Pharaoh and his servants were not hating on it. What are you saying? Let's see. I believe because he had a relationship with God and understood his assignment early on, we've already discovered that he came from a family of seers and prophets. Oh, that's interesting. So the question was, why didn't Joseph reach out to his family before they came to get food? Because they had food and they had eaten it all. So the father sent the brothers to come and get more food, to buy food. He sent them with money. Remember that? We talked about that. But the question was, why didn't Joseph go and reach out to his brothers and his families, especially when the famine hit? And so one person said it's a good thought to ponder on. And then you're putting this in and saying you believe because he had a relationship with God, he understood his assignment early on. And we've already discovered that he came from a family of seers and prophets. That's a good insight. Good insight. Good insight. Let's see. He was hearing from God. So you think he didn't reach out because he was hearing from God, maybe telling him not to, so to speak? I don't know. For those of you who are just coming into the room, welcome. We want you to put in the chat, my steps are ordered. My steps are ordered, because Joseph's steps definitely were. My steps are ordered. And I want you to think about that, especially if you're in a hard place. Your steps are ordered. Your steps are ordered. You got to believe it. We walk this walk by faith and not by sight. your steps are ordered. All right, verse 17. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, say unto thy brother, this do ye, laid on my chest, and go into the land of Canaan. Verse 18, and take your father and your households and come unto me, and I will give you the good land of Egypt, and ye shall eat the fat of the land. Okay, ooh, wait, we got some wisdom here. Like Nehemiah, he could not come down and tend to the family. He had to stay focused. Oh, I like that. He did have to stay focused because he was the one that came up with the plan. He was interpreting the dreams. And then after he interpreted the dream, Pharaoh was like, okay, you set this up because you had the dream. You've got the insight. You make all of this work. So he was busy. I'm just trying to think if that would keep me from reaching out to my family, though. I don't know. But like Nehemiah, if it was a God thing, he could not come down off the wall. Nehemiah could not. So Joseph could not get unfocused. He had to stay focused with what he had been called to do. I can sit with that. I can work with that. That's good. That's good. That's some wisdom, y'all, from the Watchman House. Thank you. Verse 19, now thou art commanded, this do ye, take your wagons out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and your wives, and bring your father and come. Also regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. What you saying, Bobby? Let me see. You are saying, I believe it was divine purpose and a process to be the great leader. It was divine purpose, and this was a part of the process. Okay. So that goes into what we were talking about last week, about sometimes we have a perspective and we don't see everything. Like Joseph's brothers had a perspective, and they thought, okay, we are coming at the mercy of Joe. They didn't know it was him, but we're coming at his mercy. We need him to help us. We need food. And, we don't want to make him mad. This is part of the process. Joseph had a different perspective, much like God has a different perspective. Joseph knew who they were. He knew about the famine. He knew how he had set things in order. So Joseph is seeing the big picture. The brothers only have that tunnel vision. They're only seeing the little picture. And the brothers are making an assessment and making a determination and coming to a conclusion off of what little bit they can see. And that's how we are. We make conclusions and come to perspectives off of the little bit that we see. But God, like Joseph, knows the whole plan. He knows the whole plan. Even when Joseph put that money back in their bags and sent them away with like extra food, fruits and vegetables, and they were afraid, like, oh my goodness. And even when Joseph put the cup, I think it was the king's cup, into the bag, and then he had his guardsmen go after them after they went away. All that was a part of the plan, part of the process, not just for Joseph, but even for the brothers. He was messing with them. But I'm just saying, all this was stuff that we go through in life. It's a process. Everything is okay. Let me think about this. Everything has a process. Building a car has a process. It doesn't just show up. Buying a house, there's a process to doing that. Getting saved, that's a process. You open your mouth, you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart. That's the process. If you want to have a baby, there's a process from beginning to end. That's a whole process. If you want to go to school and get a degree, there's a process. So even when you wake up in the morning, before you walk out of your house, there is a process of you getting yourself together, brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a shower or whatever, putting on your clothes. So I'm saying all this for a reason. If everything that we do, everything that we see, everything that we encounter if everything is a process, then what about the stuff that has us in a hard place? Could that not be a process as well? The process. Okay, let's change our perspective in the middle of the process. And I know Easier said than done. I get it. But let's change our perspective in the middle of the process. The process, you're in the middle of a hard place, in the middle of the process, and you're praying, God, help me, help me. I want to get out of this. Help me. Let this be over. And God is like, but you're in the process. I'm working something out of you. So maybe the posture should be, okay, I don't know what you're working out of me. I don't know what you're working in me, but I know that I am your child. I know that my steps are ordered. Remember, we put that. Trying to find my pointer. Here we go. I know that my steps are ordered. So since my steps are ordered and I am your child and you are always with me, this must be a part of a process. And it may be part of a process that I'm not aware of. Joseph was put in a pit as a part of this process, but his steps are ordered. He was sold as a part of the process. He was put in jail as a part of the process. He interpreted dreams for the cupbearer and the baker as a part of the process. He was accused by Pharaoh's wife. Was it Pharaoh? He was accused by the man's wife, the king's wife. Okay. Part of the process. Let's see what Team Perry is saying. Sometimes your focus does not allow you to go back and carry those you are not graced to carry. Ooh, at the moment. Now that's heavy. That is true. Being graced for specific people and places and specific times. That's wisdom. That's right. We can't take everybody with us. We can't go through some of those thresholds carrying all of our crew, all of our posse. Think about some of the stars, basketball stars, music stars, pop stars, whatever. Think about all of them and the money that they've made. And a lot of them didn't have money. Well, part of it was poor money management. Hey, Deborah, thanks for joining us. But the other part is sometimes they had all of their boys or their crew on the payroll, so to speak. Go do this for me, I'll pay you. And it wasn't, I'm giving you $5 an hour. It was like, all right, here's 1,000 here, here's 1,500 here, here's, whatever. Sometimes your focus does not allow you to go back and carry those you are not graced to carry at that moment. Doesn't mean that you're going to totally cut them off. But when you go to a different level, to a different, now this makes me think, okay, when God is transitioning you from one level to the next, and those of you who are part of this community, you know that we are in the midst of transition. When God transitions you, there are some people that you can't take with you, like you said here, but you also have to get settled, confident, and assured of the place that you're in. Joseph didn't bring his family when he was still trying to figure it out. His family showed up when he was in place, when he had the authority of being the second person in charge. So sometimes, like you said, you can't carry them at the moment. Being graced for specific people and grace and places at specific times. Being graced at a specific time when you are locked and loaded, when you are in where you're supposed to be, when you are familiar with what's around you, when you've got a handle on what God has called you to do, then maybe that's when you can open the door to some people. Because you know why? Once you sat in and you've created boundaries, you've created systems, you've created kind of the process and the system and the way that you do things, you're not so easily moved by what other people say, because this system is working. This process is working. What you're doing is working, and it was working before you came. Some people will get moved, but for the most part, with you saying this, it makes me think that Joseph had to get to the point where he had put roots down, so to speak. This is where you're going to be. This is where you're going to operate. This is how you're going to function. This is what you have been called to do when you're walking in your calling. and you've got things in order. You're familiar with the voice of God, with where you are. You're not trying to figure some of the nuances out. You know how to do it. This makes me think that maybe sometimes we are separated and moved from people because, like you said right there, good point, Team Perry, timing, because of timing. Timing. That's good. I'm loving this, y'all. Keep talking in the chats. This is good. Good stuff. All right, I think I read this, verse 19. Yes, I read that. Verse 20. We are in Genesis chapter 45, verse 20. Also, regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. And the children of Israel did so. Israel, also Jacob. And Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for the way. Joseph hooked his family up. He hooked his family up. I wonder, think about this. Because Joseph's brothers were jealous of him, they were jealous of him when he was just dreaming about what was going to happen, right? So suppose Joseph brought his brothers in too soon, and they actually saw the favor that he had with Pharaoh. Don't you think that he would have their brothers would have messed it up for him? I'm just saying, that is a thought. Maybe he didn't. It's the timing of the Lord. And like Watchman House said, like Nehemiah, he could not come down to tend to his family. He had to stay focused. Seems like, and I'm thinking, I wonder if the brothers would have messed up the process for him because they were already jealous when he was just dreaming. Imagine what they would have done to him. Imagine what his brothers would have done to him if he had brought them in too soon. I'm just saying, that's an interesting thought. Ooh, okay. What are you saying here? There's a female billionaire CEO who has said she doesn't manage people, she manages systems. Joseph learned that he could only lead his family. He understood that he had to maintain the integrity. You all in my little talk right here, managing systems. But you're right. I think let me say this. At certain levels in life, depending on where you are, your focus changes. When you're an entry level person, you're focused on my job, what I got to do to get my paycheck. Oh, what'd you say? Of the system. Oh, to maintain the integrity of the system. I got you. Yeah. When you become a mid-level manager, there are other responsibilities that you have, like maybe timesheets, making sure people call in, or if they want vacation days, things of that nature. When you become a high level, or like she's saying here, a CEO, you don't manage the people. The people underneath you manage the people. They make sure the person that wants a vacation for Christmas, Christmas Day off, they make sure they manage the people. When you're at this level, not let alone a billionaire, but the CEO, if you're the general manager, you don't manage people. You have managers that report to you. Those managers manage people, but you manage the system. The managers come to you and say, this isn't working because XYZ. And as the CEO or as the general manager, you have the authorization, the foresight, you have the 30,000 foot view in order to say, you know what, we do need to make that adjustment. Let's do that. You're managing the system so that the systems will work. And that's where Joseph was. Imagine if Joseph had brought his family in when he was at the entry level. That would have been a hot mess. And then he got elevated to be a mid-level manager. I guess when he was in the jail, I don't know, mid-level manager, when he started out working for Pharaoh. But then now that he's at this position, yeah, Okay. We got another document of wisdom. Joseph didn't have time to manage the family. He had to manage the systems for generations. Girl, you preaching. Yes. He had to manage the systems. I'm telling y'all, this is a whole economic class. This whole Joseph thing, the way that he put the grain away for 7 years and then had enough to sell to people for the 7 years of famine. This is a whole economics class. Seriously, this is a whole business class. And this right here is the truth. It is truthed. Joseph didn't have time to manage the family. He had to manage the systems, but not just for him. He had to manage the system for generations. God is a generational God. And if we don't learn how to work the systems, then what you're doing is going to die when you die. You've got to learn the system of maybe having a healthy family, the system of managing your money. Say you got a bunch of money, but you don't have a system on how to manage it, on how to sow, on how to sort, on where to give, how much to give. If you don't have a system that you work money in, it's going to be gone when you're gone. Your kids may have, there is a study that said that most of the millionaires that have money, by the time their children get it, they're no longer by the end of their children's lives, they've lost money. They're not at that multi-million-dollar status anymore because the children don't learn the system or a system. It could be a system of how to invest money. There's a system to that. Learn that. And then you can pass that know-how onto your kids and they'll learn the system. It could be a system of buying property. Learn that system. But if you don't teach your kids how to do that and all they know how to do is just spend money, the money's going to be gone. They don't know how to do anything but just show up and thinking they look pretty. That's not going to last long. Show your children or those who are you're mentoring, show them the systems of life so that they can be successful. Like we've got a saying at my job, it's like, I want you to show me how to do this, but we also say, don't do it for me. Teach me how to do it. And we'll say, teach me how to fish. I'll say, okay, I want to learn how to edit something, or I want to learn how to do X, Y, Z, but teach me how to fish. That means show me step by step so that I know exactly what to do. Two things. One, so I don't have to keep coming to you every time I got to do this, because that's going to get irritating for both of us. But the second thing is so that I can learn, so that I'll know how to do it. So teach those who are your mentees, those who are your children, teach them how to fish, so to speak. Teach them how to work the systems, because if they learn how to work the systems, then they'll always have. And that's why some people who, if they lost everything, now they could get it back. It does have to do with mindset. It does have to do with attitude. It does have to do with perspective and things of that nature. But it also has to do with knowing how to manage or work the system. That's how they get back. They know the system. That'll teach there. Know the system. You can put that in the chat if you feel up to it. Know the system. I'm gonna put it in there. Know the system or systems, because there are more. One system doesn't work for every system. System of, having a healthy family doesn't work when it comes to finances, but you got to know the systems in order to make it work. Okay, verse 22. To all of them, he gave each man changes of remnant, or gave them clothes. But to Benjamin, he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothes. I wonder why he had such a love for Benjamin. Wasn't Benjamin the one that told them, don't kill him, don't kill him? I can't remember. Or was Benjamin the one that said when they were at the when they came to the house, when they came to the I want to say castle, but Benjamin was saying, don't kill my brothers, or don't keep me here. My father will die. It was like he and Benjamin had a connection. What are you saying? That's what I tell all the ones. Tell all who. Wait, that's what I tell all, basically the ones who work with me at work. I'll say that. I think that's what you're trying to say. I'll show you, but I'm going to let you do it. Absolutely. 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 You got to know the systems. Yep. It makes you stronger. Ooh, that's what we're going to learn in prayer school, the systems. Systems. Remember, we said that the kingdom was set up like a courtroom, and that there are legal things in the courtroom. If you go to court, you can't go in there being all emotional. You better let my child out of here. You better not try to lock me up. That's not going to work. You'll end up in jail, and your child too. But if you get an attorney who knows the systems, who knows the process, depending on what you're facing, more than likely, maybe you'll end up with a fine. Maybe you'll end up with probation. Maybe you'll end up with a lesser sentence or whatever. Oh, you spelled it out. Okay, I got you. But you have to know the system of the courtroom. And that's the same way in the spirit. You got to know the system. You got to know the process. You got to know the legalities. You got to know it. I hope this is stirring something in your heart. I feel like somebody's getting a sermon or got a sermon. Oh, it was Reuben. I wondered about that, if it was Benjamin or Reuben, but you're right. It was Reuben who tried to save him. But in verse 22, it says, to all of them he gave changes of clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothes. Verse 23, and to his father he sent after this manner 10 donkeys laden with good things of Egypt, and 10 donkeys laden with corn and bread and meat for his father. By the way, he was hooking his family up. See what happens when this is what happens. See what can happen. Because I don't want to paint the picture that everything always ends up very perfect and pristine, and the flowers are always blooming, and the skies are always blue. I don't want to paint that picture, because sometimes there are processes upon processes, and they intertangle and intertwine. And some of it is us reaping what we've sown. Some of it is God taking us through a process. All of that is that's life, all of that. So I don't want to paint the picture that everything is roses. If you just do what God tells you to do, if you just surrender to the process, because sometimes we end up in hard places and we have done what we were supposed to do. I don't even know how I got there, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Surrender to the process, though, because that outcome is a lot better than your own, because God has the perspective, the 30,000-foot view. He sees it all from beginning to end. Remember, from end to the beginning. I know I'm saying that wrong. From beginning to end. He knows the end from the beginning. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, verse 24. So he sent his brothers away, and they departed. And he said unto them, see that ye fall not out by the way. And they went out of Egypt and came unto the land of Canaan, unto Jacob their father, and told him, saying, Joseph is alive, and he is governor of all of the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart fainted, for he did not believe them. When I read that, I was like, ooh, they done killed the man, telling him that the boy was alive. But no, he was excited, overwhelmed, I'm sure, to find that something that he thought was done with, it was kaput. He thought that his son was dead. He had probably grieved him. and grieved for him over the years, and then to find out your child is alive, oh my goodness, what emotions would run through your mind and your body. Verse 27, and they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, was revived. He was excited to find out that his son was still alive. Verse 28, and Israel said, it is enough. Joseph, my son, is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die. Whoa, the daddy was happy that the son was alive. So in chapter 45 of Genesis, Joseph revealed himself to his brothers, and they had a kumbaya moment. And then he gave his brothers donkeys, and the donkeys, they had clothes on them. He gave his brothers clothes. He also had another set of donkeys where he put a bunch of food, and he was sending it back to his father. And the brothers came back and said, you know what? Joseph is alive, and he's the governor over all of Egypt, and he sent all of this for you. Look, we are rich. We are rich. We are rich. That's what the brothers were saying to the father. And the father said, oh my goodness, I will be able to see my boy. I'll be able to see my boy before I die. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness, this time is going by fast. Okay, we're going to start chapter 46. But we are almost done, y'all. And then we've got another topic that we will be talking about reading. All right, chapter 46, verse 1. And Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac. Now Israel, who is Jacob, I'm going to get this in my head, took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto God, to the God of his father Isaac. Jacob, Isaac, Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So he was offering a sacrifice unto God. Okay, somebody look up and tell me what Beersheba means. It looks like beer, Berrsheba, Beersheba. I feel like there's a meaning in that. Does anybody know offhand? If not, look it up. I'm going to look it up. And whoever gets it first, put it in the chat. Define Beersheba. I feel like that there's something significant in that. And I hope that when you read the Bible, that the questions that we've asked tonight and just some of the dialogue that we've had, I hope that crosses your mind while you're reading. Read it slow enough so that you can get understanding of what you're reading. You can understand the storyline, but also if something crosses your mind and you don't have an understanding of it, then look it up. That's how we learn. Okay. Abimelech conceded that the well belonged to Abraham, and in the Bible, Beersheba means well of seven or well of the oath. Beersheba is further mentioned in the following scripture. Beersheba, I keep saying it wrong. The history of Beersheba, they spelled it different here. Israel has biblical significance. Beersheba is in the Bible the city Abraham and his son Isaac established after they made peace with the Philistine king Abimelech over a dispute over a well of water. Isaac went to Beersheba, and there the Lord appeared to him, and he built an altar and called upon the name of the Lord. We were just talking about altars. Those of you who are in this community who pray with us, we were just talking about altars. So this is telling us, remember, altars are a place where you sacrifice. Altars are also a place where you hear from God. This is telling us that Isaac went to Beersheba, and there the Lord appeared to him. He built an altar there and called upon the name of the Lord. Your prayer time is important. God is waiting for you to be consistent in your prayer time. He is. We've got only 5 minutes left. Okay, that's verse 1. Verse 2, and God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here am I. What are visions of the night? In the dream. God spoke to them in their dreams. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down unto Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the son of Israel carried Jacob, their father, and their little ones and their wives in the wagon which Pharaoh had sent to carry them. I am going to stop here at verse 5. Chapter 46 of Genesis, verse 5. We are going to stop there. And, you know, before the show goes off, they always throw up commercials, right? So again, I want to encourage you guys to, why is this doing this? It took away my thunder. I had it all planned out. All right. I want to encourage you guys to support our sponsors. Young People Nation podcast. See them on Facebook and on YouTube. Subscribe to their channel every Thursday at noon. They have a new broadcast. Be sure that you support them. Also, Davis Consultants presents Today is Your Day every Friday, 12 Central, 1 Eastern. They're also on Facebook and on YouTube. Find them. And then our sponsor, A Word and a Song, Montre Roberts. Screenshot this so you can find her on Facebook every third Sunday at 7 p.m. And then I want to encourage you guys to go ahead and sign up for our prayer school. It is happening September. We are going to meet for 5 Mondays starting September the 9th from 8 until 9 p.m. You can register as soon as we get off here. Just give me about 5 minutes. I'll put the link on our website at KimberelyJMinistries.org. That is where you can sign up for prayer school. We are super duper duper excited about that. I know. Yes, Montre. I know. So excited for her. Hope you guys were able to learn something tonight, or something. I'm saying learn something. Hopefully something just kind of stirred in your belly, stirred in your spirit. I hope you have questions, that you start having questions about what the word says, and ask God, because he is one that will answer. I believe he loves the dialogue between us. So yeah, I think that is it. What are y'all saying? I'm gonna give you a chance. Love. You're funny. Yes, same to you, Team Carrie. Thank you for being so awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time on this Thursday evening. And oh, let me tell y'all about this. Where is it at? We got a new goal, y'all, 500 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that you are a part of this growing community, because we want you to be a part of it. And then if you want to know when we are coming live, go ahead and text the word community with a K to 866-939-6096, 866-939-6096, so that you can get a text message every time we are on, or if we have something going on, just whenever. We may just want to say hello to you. Yes, tell everybody about this. I'm out of here, y'all. Take care. Thanks for joining us. See you later. Bye.